Okay, I think we're live.
We are.
There's no place in the world that I would rather be right here, right now, than with you. My good friend who recently connected with it. It feels like I've known her forever. Um, Without further ado, on today's episode of Playing Small is Canceled, we have a very exclusive treat. She is Vice Chairman, External Affairs for the Royal Caribbean Group. And prior to that, she served as President and CEO of Celebrity Cruises, where she became the first woman to take the helm of a Royal Caribbean Group brand and one of the few women then leading a multi-billion-dollar brand that's billion with a B. She is a recognized trailblazer in the global hospitality industry, and she was the driving force behind transforming and redefining today's relaxed luxury cruise experience. No big deal. She shares her powerful career stories and lessons learned in her instant classic book, Making Waves, A Woman's Rise to the Top, using smarts, heart, and courage. She's just a juggernaut in all facets of life and a terrific human being. Please welcome the trailblazing, wave-making, innovative, and creative, the beautiful and brilliant, abundant Lisa Lutoff-Perlo. How you doing, Lisa?
Great, Craig. It's so nice to be back with you today. And coming from you, those are amazing compliments, my friend, because you're
Uh,
pretty cool yourself.
Oh man, there's literally no place in the world I'd rather be. Every time we get together, it's just magic. There's going to be so much fun today. We just recently crossed paths in the podcast and so forth. But today we're
Yep.
going to dive real deep into leadership. Are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
Something that you know a thing or two about, arguably one of the best in the world at it. Simply
Thanks.
put, this is kind of a broad question, but we'll dive deeper. What makes an effective leader?
Oh, goodness. So many things. There's so many things that make an effective leader, but I think that courage is one of them. I'm really big on courage. And I think that if you want to make a difference, you have to have courage. I think staying the course is really critical for leaders. I've had many people have told me over time that, I always knew where we were going and I always started with the end in mind, and I wasn't, taking people left and right and up and down. And that's quite confusing for people. Decisiveness, and also being empowering, empathetic, and inspirational, I would say probably are the top on my list.
You mentioned courage there. I'm really big on courage too. And I'm curious, is courage something that you have to be born with, or is that a skill set that you could develop, a muscle that you could flex?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, I know I don't want to, take the easy way out on answering that question. It's not my intention, but I think something inside you needs to, you need to have something that will enable you to put aside your fear, because honestly, just because you have courage, it doesn't mean you don't have some level of fear that it's going to work or not work. It's going to succeed or not succeed. You're leading your team the right way or not, so you always have that little gnawing of fear, which I actually think is good, because if you don't have that little bit of fear, you're probably not doing something transformational enough. And then I do believe you can build it over time. And I think some of that is through trial and error. When you have courage and it goes well, then you'll do it again, and you'll do it again. And even if you trip up or fail once in a while along the way, which admittedly I did, I think my track record was good enough that it didn't stop me from, having courage and trying again.
I think what you said there was so deep and so unbelievable. If you don't have fear, it means that you're probably not doing something transformational enough.
Right.
It reminds me of, like, even before my marathons, I still face a little bit of fear, not because I don't think that I could do them. I've ran 7 already, but because I respect the task at hand and I know it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between pressure and stress. And sometimes pressure and fear, not the same, maybe cousins, but that's usually a flashlight that you're on the right path, because that means it's a little scary. And on the other side of that is probably your big expansion or transformation, right?
Right. Exactly. And like you said, you can do it, but anything can happen along the way, right? It's like nothing's guaranteed, but you still have to go for it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, I love it. There's so many places we could take this conversation. I want to make every single second count. And we're going to come back to leadership in a second. One other thing amongst many that you do so well is cultivate an unbelievable culture. And I think that's so important, especially today. And so I'm building a company too. And it's just what I've noticed is it's so important to set the tone and really get everybody bought in on the same frequency and so forth. How important is that to you? And what is something tangible that anybody building something can take and to help increase the culture?
Yeah, culture is like at the top of my list, because from culture, everything is, is driven by your culture, and everything you do is driven by your culture. Trust is driven by your culture, right? So when you're a leader with courage and you're asking all these people to come along with you on this journey, and you're talking about things you want to try or things you think you can do, and people are looking at you like you're a little crazy, it's really all about the culture that you've created and people's willingness to go with you on your journey. And then the other thing is that as a leader, I always push myself as hard or harder than I push my team. And I push pretty hard because I've always tried to exceed results, transform something, make a meaningful difference, not an incremental difference. And when you do that, and when you yourself are committed to that as a human being, you have a tendency to commit everyone else to that and drive everyone toward that and push everyone toward that. So I always felt like as hard as you want to push people and as much as you want to accomplish, you also have to balance that with fairness, empathy, caring, and letting people know you're mutually invested in their success. It's not just about your success that you care. I always tried to tell my team I cared more that they looked good and were successful than me. And so I think that those are the things about leadership that not everyone has, and that really help you be the most successful you can possibly be.
I love that. I think it's a mentality like the camera's always on, meaning that how you lead by example, setting the tone is arguably the best way to lead other people. And of course, you want to teach people and encourage them and showcase compassion, empathy, but nobody's probably going to listen to you if you're not in the arena doing the thing that yourself. And so that's something that we can do as leaders, is take pride in going not only the extra mile, but even the empty mile that's not very crowded, and continuously doing that and setting an example, right?
Yeah, and leading from the front too, because if it goes sideways, you stand up and take whatever the outcome of that is, and protect the people behind you who, did the best they could and did everything they could. And I've seen many leaders do that, and I've seen many leaders not do that, and that's just not good. Yeah.
What do you think? I'll answer first. What do you think that a lot of leaders don't get it right when it comes to elevating the troops around them? I think something that I've noticed myself is sometimes, somebody wants to get the best out of people, which is understandable, but there's a way to deliver that. You mentioned the word empathy, right? Understanding where the other person might be. And obviously we want people to go to a certain destination in regards to their potential, but sometimes you have to meet them where they're at in order to get them where you want to be, not just, be a soldier, so to speak. And some people respond to that, but I think there's a way to deliver it. I think that, us as leaders can do a better job sometimes in communicating that. Others like yourself have that nailed down. What is something that you've seen that maybe doesn't typically work that you see in leaders?
Well, I mean, listen, some leaders are very self-serving. It's all about them. They want all the glory, they want all the credit, and they don't want any of the blame. And it's, there's always an excuse about why something didn't work or something didn't happen. And I subscribed to this theory of accountability called the Oz principle. And it was all about accepting accountability and responsibility, and staying above the line and not making excuses for why something didn't happen, but finding a way to make it happen, and getting barriers out of your way. And I always thought that was a really effective way to talk to people about how we were going to accomplish something. Instead of talking about why we can't, let's talk about how we can. And then as a leader, I always, one of the things I say in my book is I shine the light. I made it. I was president and CEO. I didn't, I was where I wanted to be. I had great positions throughout my career, these leadership positions. And if you really are invested in other people's success and other people's development and other people's ability to succeed and achieve their own dreams and career aspirations, you got to be willing to shine the light. And again, you got to be willing to shield them when things go sideways or don't go right. And I think what's really hard for leaders is to just accept and admit that they, didn't do what needed to be done, and, they'll do better next time. And I've found that some people do that better than others.
Yeah, beautifully said. I love that. First of all, your book is amazing. Everybody should grab that immediately. And one of the things that you're so good at is innovation and so forth. And I'm just curious, obviously this is kind of about your industry, but I'm sure it's applicable for every industry. How do you stay ahead of industry trends and integrate innovation into your leadership so that you can always kind of be playing chess and leading the pack, so to speak?
Well, you always have to look at the environment around you and look externally way more than you do internally. And some people are very myopic about the lens that they look at anything through, and they are very they're very focused on what's going on inside. And then they're not looking ahead. They're looking sideways all the time. My team used to tell me, as we were maybe having conversations and we were talking about what we wanted our brand to be. And they would tell me, well, this cruise line does this and this cruise line does that. And I'm like, no, I am not interested in what this cruise line does and what that cruise line does. What's our strategy? Our strategy is to transform the industry. Our strategy is to get people to stop saying cruising is not for them. So if that's what we want, then where are we going? We're going forward. We're not looking sideways, because we have to carve out our own niche. And you have to take a look at what's going on in the broader world around you. And you have to understand what consumers want and where their mindset is and where they're going. And you have to be 10 steps ahead, because I was the man that I used to work for had a saying, and he said, if Henry Ford asked customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And sometimes you have to be willing to take risk, and you have to know what people want, even if they don't know what they want. And that again takes a little bit of courage, transformative thinking, innovation, and stepping outside of the box and looking toward the future in a different way.
One of my favorite things about you, and there's a long list, is just you're a way to think outside the box, and it's just it's so special and so cool, and it's contagious. And I encourage everybody to try your best to think unconventionally. Think about like what other people are not thinking. I'm just curious, straight off the cuff, how much personal development do you do?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I do personal development. I talk, talking to people like you, being engaged, aware, out there, making sure I'm following things. I mean, that's how I develop myself in a way that might be different. And, I'm never happy with the status quo, and that's good and bad. I always believe your strength is also your weakness if you look at it a certain way. And just because I am, and you know what? I just talk to people that know more than I do. And learn from them and absorb things. And I'm willing to ask, what are we not doing well? What could we be doing better? And there's a lot of people who, who aren't willing to do that and who aren't willing to be introspective. And I try to do that. I try to listen to people. I really do. I don't have all the answers. And I think that's my development. That's my personal development. And I surround myself with people who know more than me and are smarter than me. And that's how I develop myself.
Isn't that a cheat code, right? Because we don't know everything. And it's funny because the more I know, the more I realize I don't know.
Right.
There's so much out there. And so it's so cool to be able to surround yourself with a council, people that know a little bit more than you in certain areas that you want to improve upon. And then you can kind of stay in your lane and do your thing. And you can build a team of people you can count on. Right.
And I find people respect you more. And then they want to learn from you, because we all think we bring things that others don't bring either. So it's not just I'm learning from other people because they know or do certain things better for me than me. I hope I do the same for people, and I hope my passion is contagious. I always hope that people want to work with me because they genuinely want to see me win, not because it's their job, not because they're just coming to work, and they need a paycheck, not just because we selected them as a designer for our ship. I really want them to be emotionally involved. And I think that's the key to ultimate success.
I agree. So in regards to that, when you're like beginning to work with different employees, whatever the case may be, obviously you want them to buy into the vision. You don't want them to just be there for a paycheck. How do you maybe set the tone or set expectations or see why they're in this in the first place from the beginning? Is that a conversation that you have, or you just kind of hope that they're in it for the right reasons? Is that something that a leader or a boss can start to implement from the beginning?
I think you have to implement it from the beginning, and I think you have to bring people along with you, because at the end of the day, you need buy-in. You need people to believe in you, and you need people to believe in your vision, because there's no way you're going to accomplish anything on your own. It takes a village. For me, it took 20,000 people, going in the direction I was. But the good thing is I started my career in sales and marketing. So for 21 years, I was selling and marketing. And what I realized is really for the whole time I've been alive, I've been selling and marketing. And I think you have to have a good story, and you have to have a way to articulate that story. And in that story, you ask people for help, because you're not going to get there by yourself. And then if you excite them enough and you get them energized enough, and they really believe that you need their help and you want their help, and you're going to engage them every step of the way, I find that they're all in. And there's nothing more magical than that.
Amen. I agree. In regards to sales and marketing, it's funny because so many people not frown upon it, but they don't want that to be part of what they're doing. Like, oh, I just want to coach someone. I don't actually want to have to close someone. Selling and marketing, selling yourself. And if you really believe in what you're doing, it's your responsibility to showcase that and so forth. So many people want to skip that part. Yeah. How important has that been for you over your career?
Oh my gosh, it's a number one at the top of the list. I mean, it doesn't matter who I'm having a conversation. Okay, I had my first conversation with you, and I didn't sell anything, but I try to come across in an authentic, genuine way. And then you decided you wanted to have another conversation with me. That's selling myself, but it's not some people think that selling is negative or selling is obnoxious, but it isn't. It's a way that you engage where people want to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing. And we've all been around sales. Some salespeople have a very bad rap. Some, industries have a very bad rap around sales, around and about salespeople. But what I've also learned is no one wants to be sold to. People. I want people to naturally migrate in an authentic way to whatever it is that I might be thinking or doing. And then maybe we have a conversation, because it could be a little better, and they make my idea better, I make their idea better. But at the end of the day, we are selling whether we think we are or not. And it's incumbent upon all of us to do it the right way.
Yeah. And it's essentially our responsibility to further the message so we can make a bigger impact.
Right.
If we don't put ourselves out there or articulate properly or effectively, then we can't help more people.
Right. And then you think about, charisma and how that galvanizes people. And then you think about lack of charisma and how it doesn't galvanize people. And then you think, okay, that culture, that there's no passion there. There's no emotional connection there. And nothing happens, I don't think. I shouldn't say nothing happens. The best outcomes, I don't believe, happen without emotion and passion.
There's another juicy nugget, so we could drop the mic, but we have some time left. I love getting together with you. I'm such a fan. I respect you. I love you. I want to do this. I imagine you're getting recruited probably because you're such a good leader. And one of the things that the world has seen you navigate so well is overcoming adversity and obstacles, specifically with that industry and the pandemic and so forth. When it comes to a really great leader, I think if the, no pun intended, if the seas are smooth, then how do you really know if someone is a great leader? Because they don't have to navigate too much. But if it's choppy or if there's obstacles and you have to overcome that, then you can really see. In regards to overcoming adversity and so forth, I think one of the first things that you could do is not react and just take a second and come up with the best strategy. What has been a catalyst for you to really navigate choppy waters, no pun intended, and handle adversity so successfully?
Well, I think, sometimes you think when you're in the middle of that and one day you wake up and everything has changed, and the business you've been a part of, let me think, 2020, that was 35 years. The business you were in for 35 years and the pinnacle of your success, on one day, 4 days later, it was all gone. It was all done, shut down. Every ships were just sitting off in different places. We're panicking. Your question about how do you think about that? We didn't even have time to think. We were so busy trying to get guests and crew home and trying to deal with this catastrophic event that none of us thought we would ever see in our lifetimes. And then I think as I thought about it, when I had a spare minute to go just in the other room, when I wasn't on the screen like this, trying to figure out how to get tens of thousands of guests and crew members home, you just think about all the things that people need in a certain situation, including yourself. And then you think about all the things that you do really well, all those hard driving, performance-based, metrics-based, drive, results, operating income. When all of those things are gone and all of those things that you're so good at as a leader don't really apply anymore, how do you dial up other attributes that are innate and that you probably don't use as much every day, but that you really need right now? And that's where I dialed up my empathy, my caring, instilling hope, instilling confidence, instilling motivation. And then the other thing is that I had to do that even when I didn't have it myself. Like I would wake up every day thinking, are we ever going to come back? But I knew 20,000 people didn't want to hear me say that. So I had to deal with that on my own in another way. And I had to keep 20,000 people motivated and hopeful that we would be back into business. And I think all that you know and all that you learn, that's why I love to be a learner. That's why I love to grow. That's why I like to expand how I think and how I evolve. I don't know if I told you the story last time we spoke. One of my favorite t-shirts, it says evolve on the front and on the back, or become extinct. And I think I evolved a lot during that crisis, and it only made me better and stronger, and it only made me a better leader. And so I always looked for the silver lining, and that was one of them. I think it made me a better leader and a better human being at the same time. Evolve or become extinct. Yes. You're such a low-key savage. I love it. Lisa, I am a savage, make no mistake. Lisa, how do you respond when somebody tells you that you can't do something? Oh my gosh, I love it because it's pure motivation to prove them wrong. It's another chapter in my book, Watch Me Prove You Wrong. And it's pure motivation. I don't like it, and I immediately react to it, and I become a savage, and I just figure out how to prove them wrong. Look, we could all use a little excess motivation, right? Absolutely. Negative motivation is as good as positive motivation in my mind. It's helped me a lot in my career. I think Michael Jordan used to create arguments with his opponents just so he had a little bit extra chip on his shoulder. There you go. And I think Tom Brady, we talked about him last time. I think he actually loved reading those headlines, and all the naysayers and all the, what's his name who said he was falling off a cliff. That just was motivation. Yeah. No, what's his name though? ESPN guy. Max. Yeah. He loved that. He loved, he said, I don't read anything. He's full of it. He read everything, and it was pure motivation. I actually heard today he said that he might come back at the second half of the next season. Yeah, that's not, I don't know. Do you think he really said that, or you think someone's making something up from something else he said? With him, who knows? He could probably still go. Listen, that would make me happy. I miss football Sunday with him. I know. It's not the same without Brady. Nope. No. Too many greats have left the league. I mean, they're old now. Yeah. Part of the evolution. That's right. He's evolving too. He's not going to become extinct. Absolutely not. He's just getting warmed up. That's right. Us, Craig, like us. That's right. That's 100%. Right. I wanted to land the plane with this one. I think this is such an important topic in regards to comfort zones. I know that you talk about it in the book a lot, and staying in your comfort zone won't allow you to grow. I even say a little bit deeper. I say your comfort zone is a death sentence. It's true. Even better. Yeah. I speak from contrast because before I reinvented myself, I was on Wall Street for a while, and I was comfortable, but really I was dying a slow death, straight up. My soul was contracting. I didn't feel a ton of pressure to leave. And so I just stayed. And to be honest with you, that was worse. And so when it comes, I also believe, spiritually speaking, when you activate your desire and you have the courage to step out of your comfort zone, you're more likely to be given mystical opportunities, or doors will open, or, so and forth will create situations for you that wouldn't happen if you're just staying in your comfort zone. In other words, you have to get in the arena.
how big are you in regards to everybody should be leaving their comfort zones in some capacity?
Oh, well, I'm 100% on board with that. It's the end of my book, chapter 10. And the courage to do exactly what you did and what I just did. You know, a year ago, I stepped down from my president and CEO role. In 13 days, I'm going to step out of the company after 39 years. That's my comfort zone, man. There's nothing more that's a more bigger comfort zone than being in a company for 39 years. And I just knew I was at the age and I was at the stage of my life and I was at the mindset of my life where it was time to see what else life had in store for me, not knowing and not really being important if it did or didn't, but I just knew that it was time for me to see what the universe had in store. And that's a scary feeling because you don't know what's going to be next. But sometimes you just have to be willing to do exactly what you said for the reasons that you said it. You know, it's time, you know it, you feel it. You know, the however it is you show up every day isn't the same as it was before. I went through a lot, you know, with COVID, the loss of my sister, starting up our brand all over again from scratch. And I did that because all those things were really important for me to do. But then I said, you know what, it's time. It's time to find out what else there is out there.
Is that like an intuition that you feel?
I don't know if it's intuition or you just, you know, I think we all know, maybe it is instinct or intuition, whatever you want to call it. But I think we all know in our heart of hearts when it's time. I'm not sure everybody has the courage to act on it, like to your point.
Yeah. How does someone develop courage?
I think over time, it's, you know, it's life throws you curveballs. Life throws you sad things, life throws you hard things, and we either pick ourselves up and keep going or, you know, or we succumb to it all. And so I think it's your mindset. It's like, which do you want to happen for you? You want to just let it happen? You want to just, you know, let it derail you, let it, you know, crush all your dreams or, you know, sadden you forever? Or do you want to pick yourself up, dust yourself off and keep on going? And I've always been the one that wanted to pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep on going.
Maybe the word commitment becomes before courage, because if you're committed to doing something, then maybe you'll gain the courage. So for example, let's say you're committed to leaving to see what else is out there, then maybe you develop courage and it's like a muscle. So maybe I don't have the courage to sign up for another marathon, but I'm committed to. So I do that and then I build courage. And then it's something I could tap into more. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, you know, I think you're onto something because I remember thinking I'm committed to leaving because I knew I needed to at some point in time. Mm-hmm. And then it was just building up the courage to do it and also planning the steps to do it and also making sure that when you finally did, when I walked away, I wanted Celebrity to be strong. I wanted the team to be back. I wanted our brand to be back. You know, I had this, you know, other saying during COVID, I didn't come this far to only come this far. Mm. And that's why I didn't leave during COVID. I was committed to coming back and bringing the brand back. And I couldn't leave people. I was also committed to people, not just my own, you know, my own outcome. I was committed to all those 20,000 people that I promised we were going to get back and we were going to come back. And our comeback was going to be stronger than our setback. And I needed to see that through.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
So much love for you. How can everybody support? What's the best way for everybody to get involved? What are you most excited about right now?
Well, I am most excited about what I'm going to announce next, and that's going to happen on May 1st. And so everybody should follow me on social media, LinkedIn, and they'll see my announcement. And you can look at my website, Lutoff-Perlo.com, or order my book through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or a bookstore, local bookstore near you.
Unbelievable. I'm going to connect you later today. I hope you have an unbelievable weekend. So much love for you. Thank you so much for stopping by and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets.
Always love talking to you, Craig Siegel. Mwah. Have a great weekend. Ciao, my friend. Bye. Same here. Ciao.